I will pass out these flyers myself. Just come on, my baby. Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a minute, but we're not even going to talk about that right now. Let's just get right into these Netflix recommendations. So the first one I want to tell you guys about is called Hold Tight. It's a limited series. It's not an American or English-based film, so it does have the voiceover, but the voiceovers are done really, really well on this project. It's like they add actual actors to read the lines, not people just like reading off the paper. I know sometimes it can really like take you out of the movie when the voiceovers are not done right, but this was done really well. And essentially it's just about this woman and her teenage son. You know how teenagers behave. You know, he's being erratic, he's being really secretive, and his best friend passes. And so now we have to figure out who caused it, what is the backstory. We kind of like watch this thing unfold, and when I say it has you like on the edge of your seat, usually I'm somebody who feels like I can predict, where something is going, but it literally just kept me guessing. And in the first episode, I was kind of like, I don't know if this was really for me. I was kind of doing other stuff while I was watching it, but then it would keep taking my attention, and eventually I was like, okay, we're going somewhere. And then it got so bad that I was like telling my husband like the characters and calling them by name, like, yeah, Michelle, he was talking to Adam. So like it's really good. Like, I'll say it's really good. Now, one thing I will say is I wasn't a fan of the ending. I felt like it was a little open-ended, or it was just something that to me didn't make sense. But I'm not gonna, tell you guys, what it was or, how it unfolded. So I will give this show a solid 8 out of 10. I thought the acting was good. I thought it was really suspenseful. It was really well done, in my opinion. I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. Next project I want to steer you guys toward is a movie called Circle. This is wild. So basically, it's 50 strangers, 50 people who don't know each other, and they're in a giant room. Everybody has their own space. They cannot step off the space or they'll die. And then they're trying to figure out how the game is played. So it's kind of like Saw. You know how in Saw they have to, figure it out. But at least the voiceover comes and lets you know, how to do it and what your time is and everything. In this movie, there are no clues. And they all just have to figure it out. They have to figure out if they're getting out, how many people are getting out, how to go about playing the game. So, they're desperate to get themselves out of this situation. And to me, this movie really explores like these philosophical ideas of humanity, right? So it's about, how do we determine what morality is, and, who, is worthy of being saved, and who is somebody, how do we judge, how do we figure out like who is a person of stature, who deserves to be saved, and who is not? Like, how do we decipher character of people? And so they go into discussions of religion, race, sexuality. So I don't know if I was so engulfed in the movie because, the storyline or the plot, was necessarily like so good, but it had me in a chokehold, like the conversations that came out of having 50 completely different opposite ends of the spectrum in one room, and then trying to have to work together. A lot of the moments and a lot of the things that's said in this movie are going to be great conversation starters if you're the type of person who really just likes to have, deep, meaningful conversations with people. It'll take you there. My only thing that I didn't like about this movie is that it has an open-ended feeling, in my opinion. I want you to tell me what's happening. I'm personally not a fan. Some people like that they get to create or, wonder themselves about what the end is supposed to be or what it's supposed to mean. Tell me. I don't like open-ended, movie endings. I just want you to tell me this is who it was, this is what happened, blah, blah, blah. This movie, to me, did not do that. But you watch it for yourself and you could tell me maybe went over my head and I missed it. But I would give that movie 7 out of 10. The project I want to introduce you guys to is another movie called Oxygen. Y'all, watch it. Just watch it. I give this movie, and I'm going to say the rating before I talk about the movie because it was that good to me. I'm giving this movie a 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10 because, first of all, well, I'll just give you guys the facts. The synopsis of the story is there's a woman, she's trapped in like a cryogenic chamber, which is very futuristic, something where they like put people, preserve their bodies, has something to do with like the medical field, right? And she wakes up, she doesn't know who she is, how she got there, and she's running out of oxygen. That's where the movie starts. It picks right up in like the heat of the action. It's so good. And to me, I think I'm just nerding out over this movie because the acting is phenomenal. From an actor's perspective, I'm like, do you know how good you have to be like the solo person in a film and in one spot and be able to command an audience to like never take their eyes off you, to not get bored, for it to feel like it's not going anywhere. And this had me like in the grips of this. It was so, that's the nerd in me, you know, the actor looking at it from that perspective. But I feel like even if you're not an actor, you could appreciate the general, you could still appreciate this movie. It reminded me a lot of this film called Phone Booth that came out years ago, I think like late 90s. And it was starring Colin Farrell. And the entire movie was in a phone booth. So, but in this movie, there were other things we got to see. You know, we got to see other parts of the street. You know, we got to see like the cops come around and kind of circulate. So there was other imagery in that movie. This movie, it was just this woman in this chamber. And you guys have to watch it. It is so good. I give this movie a solid 9 out of 10. And there's a really good plot twist in the movie. Really good plot twist. So definitely check that one out. I don't know why nobody is talking about this series. It's a comedy drama. It's based in Canada, so maybe we're just haven't traveled and, you know, we're not talking about it because we don't really know it's there. But I wish it was getting like publicity here. It's so good. I feel like if you're a mom, particularly an older mom, but any mom with kids and you're trying to juggle more than one thing, it explores like balance and, you know, navigate like their families, their husbands, their jobs. And it is hilarious. So it's going to have you in your feels because you relate to it, but it's also hilarious. The humor, like the comedic timing in that show is insane. I think everybody is insanely talented. Like it's really hard to be able to like hit a comedic, like the mark. It's so hard to hit a joke and it land. And the timing is so good. And I love all the characters. They make you care about the characters. Even if they're not like typically likable, you care about them and you want to watch them. The show is good. I promise you, you will identify with at least one of these characters. If you're not a mom, you identify with the moms. You will identify with a husband or one of the children. I just think everybody should watch it. It's so funny, and I would really hate for it to get canceled. I'm giving it a 10 out of 10. And when I need a good laugh, I'm going to watch this show. It's good. So the next project is called The Platform. This is a horror, thriller, just crime. It's a movie about like this futuristic, I guess it would count as sci-fi. It's like a futuristic prison. So there are like levels to the prison. And on every level, there are 2 inmates. And the food drops from the top level and then just slowly goes through to the bottom level. And once it's out, it's out. And the way, I can't even like say anything about the movie without giving it away. But it's another one of those movies that's set in one spot and you get very few actors. It's not a huge cast, and it just captivates you so much because you're always like, what is this? What's happening? And I think this is another foreign film, and it has a voiceover, but again, it's well done. You can't really tell. And this is one of those movies you just have to watch. Just trust me. Take my word for it. It is provocative, I think is the word I could use. It's can be kind of gory. It's there. It's not usually the type of film that I would watch, but if you're into that, or you're just really looking for something to watch, and you want to try something different, The Platform. 8 out of 10. And then last but not least is called The Weekend Away. This is like a crime mystery movie, but it's done in like a romantic comedy type of way. I don't really know how to explain that, but I know what I'm trying to say. So it's about a girl. These two best friends, they go to Croatia and they're going on like a vacation or whatever. They have, the time of their lives out at night, and then they wake up in the morning, one of them is missing and the other one is being accused of her murder. So then we have to watch it all play out, and the young lady who's trying to like clear her name and defend herself, but she's also like really sad. She's trying to figure out what happened to her friend. And then we watch her kind of struggle through like this language barrier. I say there were so many twists and turns. Again, I just knew that I was the type of person who could guess where a movie was going, and every time they like zeroed in on one person, it would flip, and you would think it was somebody else, and it would flip. And it's definitely like an intense kind of thriller movie, but I think it's so innocently done as far as like the scoring for the film is very light. So to me, it would feel like something that could be like on a teen or young adult channel, so like Freeform or something like that, because the suspense is there, the storyline is there that we've seen done before, but it's done in such a way like the music doesn't like evoke that kind of like horror emotion, or where, it just takes, I really think the scoring is what takes the movies to the levels that they take them. This movie is really good, but it's also really light, and I feel like it's something that you could watch with your preteens or teenage kids, and, it has mild language. It was clean, is what I'm trying to say. Nice, light, yet suspenseful, yet engaging film. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. If you guys enjoyed this and would like me to do another one, just like, comment, let me know. If you've seen some of these, let me know what you think about them. And I will be back very, very soon, because I have to play catch up now, to do another video for you guys. So I will see you next time. Bye.